Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop. All the news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's the host.
Welcome to Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and tonight we're going to be talking with some very interesting people from Community Lodgings in Alexandria. Joining me in our first segment is the Executive Director, Lynn Thomas. Thank you so much for being here, Lynn.
Thank you for having us.
So I work in sort of the nonprofit world here in Northern Virginia, had not heard of Community Lodgings, although you guys have been around since 1987.
Yes, that's correct.
And Community Lodgings is a nod to your original founding as providing housing.
Yes, we provide affordable housing. We have a total of 44 units that we provide affordable housing, of which 6 units are set aside for transitional housing. That was our original start, and then we expanded. We realized that the entire community needed more than just housing, so we started our youth education program. It started off as just a computer lab, and then over the years we saw the need, the demand to provide the entire service to the community. So we started a youth education program, which is an after-school program. We serve kids from elementary through high school in our program. We serve about 150 kids per day in our program at 3 sites throughout the city. Yes.
So we were talking a little bit before the show about the fact that we do work in the same space. Our Daily Bread, and I sit on the board, provides financial literacy, and we do that for other organizations, and that is one of the components I think in almost every nonprofit that is working with people who are struggling is with financial literacy.
Yes, we do provide, we have budget mentors assigned to our women in our transitional housing program. So each family is assigned a budget mentor, and it's the responsibility of the family and the mentor to work together. Our goal is that at the end of the 2 years that they're able to move successfully onto permanent housing. So working with that budget mentor, they are looking at their credit, they're looking at paying off old debts, they're looking at savings, and just trying to do whatever it takes financially to be able to move on.
But you have a lot of other programs too, because supporting somebody who is in a crisis means in order to get them to a place of stability, you've got to address all their needs, and that varies by individual. Not everybody has the same needs.
Yes. When a client comes into the program, they meet with their case manager, and each client is assigned an individual service plan. So we try to meet people where they are. Some families need extensive service. Some families only need a little service. So we work with the families on budgeting. We work with them on addressing any small component of substance abuse, where we have some families who've come in with a history of substance abuse, and we may work to link them with other services within the community. We've had victims of domestic violence that we come in, we work with. We work with just a whole variety of families that come.
So let's drop back a bit and talk about how people end up needing services. I mean, I think there are a lot of people, and I have said before, I was a single mom with 3 kids. What made the difference is that I had family here.
Yes.
So what saves a lot of people who find themselves in a predicament where they are struggling is having a support network or not having a support network. And there's a lot of people, this is an area that's very diverse. There are people here from 140 different countries, and not everybody has a family support network here. So explain, domestic violence is certainly something we're aware of, but there's a lot of other reasons that people end up needing help.
Yes, people, loss of income. We've had people who, according to the foreclosure crisis, so people who've just lost their home, they got into some bad debt, bad housing, and they lost their house through no fault of their own other than the market. Victims of domestic violence, job loss. We've had people who are sharing housing. We've had people who parents have said it's now time for you to move on. You have your family, it's time for you to move on. So we work with a variety of families. They come to us for.
So how do you get those referrals? I mean,
our referrals come through the Department of Human Services. We work closely with the City of Alexandria to provide those referrals. We get referrals from Carpenter Shelter. We get referrals from the Alexandria Community Shelter, as well as some of the other local nonprofits in the City of Alexandria.
That's fantastic. So some of the other classes, I know that you have goal setting, job readiness, life skills. Talk about how some of those things help support people who are trying to work their way back to independence.
Yes, in our life skill classes, we have classes each Thursday for the women in our transitional housing program, and so we try to bring in a professional speaker. We do classes as simple as yoga, where people are just trying to unwind and relax, and we want to show the women how to relax, how to unwind. We do the financial literacy, we do parenting, we do nutrition classes where we bring someone in and they can teach the family on not only how to budget and save your money, but how to make nutritious meals in the process of saving your money.
Yeah, there was an article in the Post, I want to say Friday of last week maybe, about the food bank who has taken on getting rid of junk food out of the diet, because this is something people don't talk about a lot, but you know, the problem with diabetes and obese children, a lot of times it's the fact that nutrition-free food is cheap.
Yes.
And it's easy, and it's prepackaged, and it's prepared. And so this particular food bank is saying no more. They will not accept cakes and these prepackaged, preserved things as being appropriate food for people in their program.
Yes. We work with our case manager will come in and she'll work with the families on how to prepare a nutritionist meal. She checks the cupboards, she takes the refrigerator, she wants to make sure that they have food in there that's healthy for not only the family, but as most importantly for the kids.
Yeah, somebody quoted Steve Case as saying that health is at the end of the fork. And I think he's right. Good food equals good health.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the things that we don't talk about. A lot of people, when they think of food pantry and food assistance, think any food will do if you're hungry.
Yes.
But actually, poor food and poor nutrition just compounds people who already have problems.
Yes, and not only that, we provide, in our after-school program, we provide the kids a meal. So we provide a meal for the kids in our after-school program as well as in our summer program in partnership with the Capital Area Food Bank. And so the kids in our program receive a healthy, hearty meal each day when they come.
And so I noticed too you have a women's empowerment group and a women's support group. Are most of the people that are coming to you women, single women with children?
Most of the women in our women empowerment group are women within the community. That group is open to the entire community. And usually at the beginning of that, we allow the women to set their topics, to figure out what they want to talk about, what they want to learn about, and then we try to bring in those professional speakers to be able to present that information to the women.
And so do you find that relationships form among the women? Is that a help to bring them together with other people in a similar circumstance?
It is definitely a help, because then they can look around and see I'm not alone. There's others out there like me struggling. I don't have to struggle in silence. There's others out there who need and want the help that we need. I
think a lot of times, you know, when we work in companies or when we work anywhere, we don't know other people's stories, and people don't always share what their stories are. I think at the holidays, people were shocked when Walmart employees needed public assistance.
Yes.
Like, well, there's probably a lot of people working around you and with you, and you don't know their stories, and people don't feel comfortable with the people they work with knowing their stories.
Yes.
So this actually provides an outlet for people to get support in ways that maybe is not as dramatic as some of the other clients you serve who need things like transitional housing and more intense services, but give people a place to go where they can talk about their struggles.
Right, because our classes are open to the entire community, so you won't know who's homeless, who's not, who's moderate income, who's low income, unless they tell you. We don't say that you can only come if you're at this. It's open to the entire community.
I think that's wonderful. I think, you know, mixing people together in that way is very helpful to everybody involved. You know, we all have the similar struggles, and hearing people's stories and knowing that. I noticed on your website you have a wonderful video of someone who talked about, you know, having to get out on her own and being in a 2-year plan.
Yes.
And those success stories make it feel possible to other people that they can do it too.
Yes, we have families who will come back and say thank you. We appreciate it. We have kids who've come back to say, I appreciate this program. I needed this. Thanks for being tough on me. Thanks for showing me the way. So we do.
So from 1987, so it's almost 30 years now.
Almost 30 years.
And we are going to hear in the next segment from Cindy, who is one of your the jewels in the crown of community lodgings, who came through your youth program and came back to you and is with you now.
Yes.
And that is a testament when people want to come back and say, it benefited me and now I want it to benefit others. What percentage do you think come back? Do you have any sense of how many people come back?
I don't have a real sense, but we do encounter people in the community who will say thank you. We've seen some of this success who I've interviewed someone and they said, I didn't know that they had come through the program. And they said, I used to be in this program. Or if I have on a community lodgings t-shirt and I'm at the grocery store, someone would say, I was in that program. It was a good program. Well, I've heard about it. So in terms of real numbers, that Cindy has been by far our most successful, and that she's still there. We rely on Cindy. She knows the community knows her. She's very respected. But we don't really have a sense of how many that actually have come back to say thank you.
Well, when I posted this on Facebook, I mentioned to you that one of the people who liked my posting was Delegate Charnel Herring.
Yes.
Who has a very compelling personal story about, for a time she was homeless as well, and she and her mother struggled. And through a series of opportunities and support and mentoring, she was given an opportunity to go to George Mason. She got a law degree, and she's now in Virginia's General Assembly. She's the House Minority Leader. I mean, I think it's important for people to understand, if you don't know somebody's personal history, you don't know what's possible. But I look at somebody like Charnel Herring and understand that there are a lot of those stories, and it comes down to who the people are who step up to help.
Yes.
And so I'm assuming you have a fair number of volunteers in your organization?
We do. We have quite a bit of, we have about 125 volunteers. We have a very small staff, 10. As I said, we serve about 150 kids, so we rely heavily on volunteers to help us carry out our mission. All of our budget mentors are volunteers. We have volunteers in our after-school program, so we have about a 3-to-1 ratio kids to volunteers in our program, so we utilize volunteers a lot in our program.
Well, a staff of 10, and you manage properties, you manage housing, so yes. My hat is off to you, because our Daily Red has a small staff as well, and we are not managing housing, yes. So wow. But 125 volunteers is also excellent, and I'm hoping that after tonight's show you will have other people who are interested yes. in learning more about how they can contribute.
Yes.
So when we come back, we'll talk with Cindy, who is the jewel in the crown of the Community Lodgings program. And thank you so much. We're going to have you back on at the very end of the show. So join us after the break. We're going to talk to Cindy Lopez, who is a family support worker, and we'll be back after the break.
Art, a universal language, an expression of culture, of self. And now, thanks to Empowered Women International, a way for emerging and established immigrant and refugee artists and artisans to find hope to earn a living while enriching the lives of all of us. Empowered Women International, making a better America every day. For more information on Empowered Women International's educational programs, or to make a tax-free donation, contact cfripp@aol.com.
You'd think it would be easy to tell which kids have trouble with their eyesight. But that's not always the case. Even though 1 in 4 children may have a vision problem, eye doctors tell us the symptoms aren't always so obvious. We do know that 80% of all childhood learning is visual. And without good vision, kids can have trouble learning to read and may fall behind in school. For clues on how to spot the real-life signs of childhood vision problems and what parents can do, visit checkyearly.com. A public service message from the Vision Council of America and Reading is Fundamental.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop. Tonight we're talking with some very special people from Community Lodgings in Alexandria, Virginia. Joining me in this segment is Cindy Lopez. Thank you, Cindy, for being here.
My pleasure.
So Cindy was chosen by Executive Director Lynn Thompson because you have come through the youth programs.
Yes.
You went through AmeriCorps, and I'm dying to hear all about AmeriCorps, and now you are a family support worker.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's start at the beginning. How did you originally get involved? How old were you when you got involved with Community Lodgings?
I was about 10 or 9 when I got involved with Community Lodgings. It started off with just being in the back of the neighborhood, just playing football with a bunch of older guys, and you know, a staff member previously just said, hey, you know, you guys are welcome to use the center if you ever wanted to, just for homework, to use the computer. Like Lynn said, it was just a computer lab, just one big table and a bunch of computers around it. So that's how it started, and I've just seen Community Lodgings expand ever since.
So was that helpful to you for somebody to come and offer the use of a computer?
Very. I mean, you know, I didn't have one at home, and just being able to go to the computer lab and like play games on the computer,
right.
It was, you know, it was awesome.
What year was that? Do you remember?
About 03, 02.
See, I'm an old person, so I'm trying to gauge, like, how long ago was that? It's a 30-year-old organization. Computers are not that old, I don't think. So anyway, so somebody just reached out a hand to you and said, the door is open and come on in.
Exactly.
How has the program changed now that you're actually working with some of these young people?
A lot more expanded, especially our youth program. You know, we have 3 centers now, one in the west end of Alexandria and 2 on the south end. And it has just expanded a lot.
And it's like 150 kids a day in those 3 centers, right?
150 kids, yes.
And a staff of 10, so that is a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, a lot. And we're grateful for them because they help so much.
What are some of the kinds of things that the volunteers do with the kids?
They just help them with homework, they interact very well with them, read books with them, just, you know, really more of an engaging part for them to have someone to look up to, and to have someone for, you know, them just to say, hey, you know, I'm here.
So let me ask you 2 questions. So where do you find the kids, and where do you find your volunteer adults?
Most of the kids are part of the community of, you know, Alexandria. It's just one big neighborhood of, mainly the south end is just Hispanics, and then the west end we have a mixture of Hispanics and African American. You know, volunteers, some have been there for a while, and others just, you know, come off based on those volunteers that have been there for so long.
So when the kids, so I'm assuming there's probably with 150 kids, there are kids from various schools in that area. Do you reach out to guidance counselors or?
Yeah, in the Alexandria area we have maybe 3 or 4 schools, and then we do communicate with the teachers and the principals at the schools, so they know that we're there, and that we're there as backup for them if they ever need it. So
how do the kids get there? I mean, transportation to me is one of the most difficult things to overcome in this particular area. It's kind of like, even if you've got people in need and great programs, it's like, how do you get there if you don't have transportation?
Well, since this area in the community is so populated, all the buses end up in basically one area. So the kids just walk to our programs, our learning centers, and they really don't have to drive anywhere.
That's great, because, you know, you move further out to in Fairfax, for instance, and the distances are much greater, and so getting kids to programs is a much bigger challenge here than it sounds like it is in a more densely populated area. Mm-hmm. So what kinds of things do the kids really like, and how do you get your equipment? Is your equipment donated, things like the computers?
Yeah, a lot of it's donated by you know, just random people, and a lot of it, like the computers and stuff, is donated by ACPS. So they just give us all the computers that we own. And yeah, like I said, a lot of things are just donated.
So what is like a typical program in the afternoon after school? I mean, and how long are the kids there? I mean, if they're there from after school, are they there till their parents come and pick them up? And what are the hours of the program?
Well, we have elementary from 2:45 until 4:15. And then right after we have our middle school and high schoolers from 4:30 to 6. So, you know, we do have a time frame where parents need to come pick up their child, just so they know it's not really a babysitting service. It's not, you know, it's just a support system for their child. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we have drop-in in the morning whenever.
Do you really?
Yeah.
So what hours are you open in the morning?
From 10 to 2 is our drop-in time.
Okay.
So anyone can come in and just say, hey, I need to use a computer, I need an application filled out, I need, you know, someone to read this for me, because a lot of our families in that area can't read in English or even speak English.
So you really need, in addition to after school, then you have volunteers there all the time? Like people, are they volunteering during the day?
Sometimes, yeah. Mainly we get our volunteers at our main office to help out there,
Right.
but most of the time staff that's at the learning centers to help out with others.
So are you looking for staff that's basically bilingual? I mean, is this one of the biggest things that people need help with besides needing a computer and how to use it, but filling out applications, especially online applications, is that one of the biggest needs that you have?
Pretty much, because a lot of families, a lot of, you know, single moms try to get high-paying jobs because they're the only ones supporting for their child. But you know, we have non-bilingual, and they still help out the families, even though they can't really, speak to them, and the families still appreciate them no matter what.
Yeah, we struggle with that too, because Americans by definition are only monolingual. If you're an American, you generally speak one language, right? So, but we have found the same thing, that even if there's a language barrier, somehow you figure out how to communicate well enough.
Exactly.
To get over this. How about the kids interacting with each other? Do you find that friendships really form among the kids who are there?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these kids are in different grade levels that probably won't have recess with one another in their school. So, yeah, community lodgings does bring friendship along. I met a couple of people through community lodgings too, so it does bring up friendship.
What about things like school vacations? And what are you doing during the summertime?
So summer, we take a 2-week period off just to gather stuff ready for summer program, and we make it educational, but we try to make it more fun, so they just won't be at home doing nothing. We do science, we do art. We got a yoga instructor coming in too, a nutritionist, and just outside time reading, just a bunch of stuff to get them occupied and keep their minds running even though they're off school. Will
that program run through August?
Yes, it will run. I think this year runs through August 12th.
August 12th. And are the kids, do you ever take them on field trips? I know you said you try to get people to come in, or I guess special people who can come in and have something to offer.
Yeah. So we do have field trips. On Mondays normally it's our elementary group, and on Fridays normally our middle school group.
So what are some of the places that they go? What are some of the fave, I can't wait to go there field trips?
Oh, the zoo is a big one.
Yeah?
Even though they've gone there so many times, they can never get enough of it.
So are you guys kind of looking then for places where either it's donated or it's free? There's a lot of things that are free in the summertime, but it's getting them there.
Yeah. Well, again, ACPS provides us with school buses to take them to.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Trips. Yeah, so they get us there and back to our center. So
that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So when you went through the program back in the early 2000s and you got through high school, tell me about how AmeriCorps figured into this.
So I took a year off after high school before I started going to college. Mm-hmm. And one of the staff members at Community Lodgings saw that I was struggling to find a job, and she was just like, well, there's an AmeriCorps position, and I think you would really enjoy it, and you already know how Community Lodgings runs, so it'll be easy for you to just jump in. And I took a while to think about it, because I was like, well, I'm not going to get paid that much, or,
It's hard, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the things we struggle with in the nonprofit community is the fact that we're not paying our employees or our staff enough. You know, you're in the same position as the people that you serve in many instances. So I can understand you saying, I don't know, is that the right decision?
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I enjoyed it. I did 2 years, and I didn't think I was going to come back for a second year, but then I saw how I was impacting a bunch of lives. So I was just like, okay, I'll come back.
And is that really, I mean, so is that really what it is for you, is knowing that you're making a difference?
Yeah, definitely. Because, you know, when I went through the program, I had those same people, what I'm doing, the same people did the same thing for me. So I'm giving that back.
Right.
Yeah.
You're paying it forward.
Yep.
And how do the kids kind of, you know, I don't know what the age of your staffers are, but you're kind of a young person. They must sort of feel like even though you're an authority figure, you're also very much somebody they could be.
Yeah.
Do you get that sense that they look up to you as a role model?
Sometimes, yeah, I do. You know, a lot of the kids are kind of scared of me for some reason. I don't know why. But, yeah, I do think they look up to me sometimes, and I hope they do at least.
Well, I think there's a fine line between being firm and holding people accountable and being a fun person that people like. I mean, I can tell you as a parent, that's the line you walk just as a parent. It's like, how do you hold your kids accountable and teach them that there's rules and there's expectations and still be the person that they want to spend time with?
Yeah, try to be both.
Yeah, trying to be both.
Yeah.
And I guess really you must be doing that pretty successfully.
Thank you.
So how many years total have you been there since you came, back through AmeriCorps?
About 3.5. Well, total since I went through the program? Or
No, just since you came back as a staff member.
It's about to be 4 years in September.
Yeah, does it feel like it's gone by really fast?
Yes, it does. It doesn't feel like.
And what about the kids? You know, it's so funny because when kids are little, like 4 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Somebody going from 8 to 12 is huge.
Yeah.
The older they get, 4 years, not so much. But as you're watching these kids, they're growing up right in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually seen a lot of them grow up since they were in diapers.
Wow.
So seeing them now older and, you know, like in middle school and high school, it's just amazing because they're still going through the program and they're putting their effort to keep going forward. So
I think it's a real testament, the fact that people have stayed from diapers to high school, that's amazing, and the fact that you, who've been through the program, have come back to be part of the success of that program. I mean, that's a real testament to the organization that you're that committed.
Yeah, I mean, I always say this, that I knew I was going to give back to community lodgings, but I just didn't think it was going to be this soon. So I'm grateful for it.
Well, and it sounds like you have a lot to give, and I think that's important because everybody's got something different to give, but it sounds like you have something that this organization helped to cultivate. So thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to talk to Rudy's. He is actually in the after-school program, so please join us after the break, and you'll meet somebody who's in 7th grade who works with Cindy, and we'll join you. We'll be back after this break.
Saving for retirement might be easy for some folk, but for others, it might take a little more work. And for those who haven't started, there are still things you can do to catch up.
Oh, that is good news.
Like getting out from underneath past debt. And don't get wrapped up with high-interest credit cards.
Get you some eyes.
Be diversified with your investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Your financial goals are not out of reach. The choice is clear. For a happy ending, choose to save.
Everyone with alcohol and drug addiction is in the same boat. With treatment, you can find solid ground. For drug and alcohol information and treatment referral for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Dude, are you sure you want this tattoo? Because just do it!
Some mistakes in life are permanent. Like hearing loss. To learn how to protect your hearing, visit asha.org.
You've probably heard about heart disease, but did you know that it's the #1 killer of women nationwide? Heart disease claims more lives each year than breast cancer, lung cancer, or strokes combined. But there are steps you can take to protect yourself against it. For more information on how you can prevent heart disease, contact your local American Heart Association or visit their website at www.americanheart.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Catherine Reed. Tonight we have some very special people here from Community Lodgings in Alexandria. Joining us in this segment is Rudy's. Is that how you pronounce it? Rudy's?
Yeah.
Okay, and he's here with Cindy, and Rudy's is part of the after-school program and part of the mentoring program too. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You are in 7th grade?
I'm a 7th grader going to 8th grade.
Wow.
I'm 12 years old. I go to the after-school program, and I'm in the mentoring group, as you just said.
So what school do you go to?
George Washington Middle School.
And so have you been, so I'm assuming you started there last year in 7th grade, or is it 6th?
6th grade. I started
So this will be your last year in middle school.
Yeah.
Do you think that after-school program's been a help to you in school?
It's been a big help because I used to stay at home and just probably do nothing, and then now I just go to the program, I do my homework, and then I can hang out with people that are nice to me and just stay around me and become very good friends with me.
So you've got some good friends in the after-school program?
Yeah.
And are some of those kids you go to school with, or just kids from the neighborhood?
Most of them are kids I go to school with, unless they're older than me.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. So specifically, do you get help with specific kinds of homework? What are you best at in school?
Math, I'll say.
Oh.
Probably.
So what are the kinds of things you kind of need help with sometimes?
Science, English, and that's it, pretty much. Because most subjects I'm pretty much on top of every time.
That's pretty cool. So do you expect that as you go into high school that you can rely, this is a program you can rely on to help you if you kind of get stuck in subjects?
A lot.
And so you think Cindy's helpful?
A lot, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things that Cindy helps you with.
She's always like there whenever I'm like struggling or whenever something's gonna happen. Like she's there just to help me. And then for my homework, she's always there to help me when I'm struggling or if I can't finish it in time. She'll always like help me speed up the process so I can finish it.
And I'm going to assume that that's probably a help to your mom too.
A giant help, yeah. Because my mom stays working and she focused on me, but she knows that while I'm there, I'm in good hands and that I'm not wandering around or something.
Yeah, I think that's it. From a mom point of view, I can tell you that's pretty good. So what grade were you in when you came into the after-school program?
6th.
Sixth grade. So this you're 2 years in. You expect to be there through high school, yes?
Yeah, hopefully, if I'm still in Alexandria, probably.
Do you like the Alexandria schools?
Yeah, they're better than Arlington, I'll say.
You were in Arlington before? Well, we've got very good school systems up here, and they're very challenging. The school systems are very academically rigorous. Do you have plans to go to college?
Hopefully.
Yeah, what do you think you want to major in?
Technology.
Technology. Very good. My son is getting a certificate in cybersecurity. Very good field. Trying to prevent hackers from hacking in. Do they, so the computers, you're able to use the computers in the after-school program?
Yeah, a lot, if I'm done with my homework, because I can't have distractions.
But is that helpful to you too? Do you have a computer at home?
No.
Yeah, I would think that there are a lot of kids that don't have a computer at home, so it's kind of helpful.
Yeah.
So do you know how to touch type? Can you type without looking at the keys?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm way impressed with that.
Learned it when I was like 6, I think.
Did you really? Did they teach you that in school?
No.
Where'd you learn how to keyboard? On a keyboard?
Home.
Really? Is that one of the things, Cindy, that when kids come in and they are lacking in certain kinds of skills, that you kind of focus on what can we help them with?
Yep. That's basically half the time the case. They either don't understand the material or they just need that push for them to be like, you know, I got this, I understand it. It's just that push.
Technology-wise, do a lot of the kids either need instruction on the computers, or do they already know how to do it, they just don't have them home?
They already know how to do it, you know, they just don't have it at home, yeah.
Right.
Because, I mean, they have it in the schools, so. And now especially they have it even in like elementary schools and stuff, so.
That's amazing. My kids are like all in their 20s, so yeah, a long time ago for me. So things like doing a paper or doing that kind of homework, can they do it and print it out and all of it's done there at the center?
Yep, yep. We have computers, we have printers that is specifically for them to use.
So what do you do in the summertime? What do you like best about the summer programs?
Just everything in general, because I can just hang out with my friends and not be home sitting doing nothing. So.
You like the field trips?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite?
So far?
Yeah.
So this week, or the first one that we've gone to, this entire summer, we went ziplining.
Wow, I have never done that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Where do you go ziplining around here?
I forgot what's
I think
called.
they went out somewhere in Maryland or something like that.
Well, it makes sense. That is really cool. And the fact that you've got friends there too. Do you feel like, and I know that being with your friends is a lot better than being at home alone, do you feel safer?
Mm-hmm. Because I feel like I'm not going to like get hurt at all. Unless it's by like accident.
Well, yeah, but so, and I just want to ask him, like I said, you know, is there a sense in being at a center like this, is being a sense of safety, is that important to you?
Yeah, so I don't get hurt.
Right, right. And how many of the kids do you think, Cindy, really, that is a huge part of why they are flourishing at the center, is that sense of being cared for and being safe?
Like we said, you know, a lot of moms, and mainly moms, that was working, they're not home or anything. So they don't have, you know, that supervision that says, okay, I'm being cared for, I'm being loved for. I'm not saying, you know, parents don't love their child, but it's just that extra body being there and being like, I got you, you know, like, don't worry, like, I'm here for whatever you need. So I think it's big.
I do too. I mean, and so I know your mom works a lot, doesn't she? So that's probably most of what she does.
To care for me.
Absolutely. So do you have brothers and sisters, or just you are the one gemstone?
I have 2 older sisters, but one's leaving, and one's, I don't have no idea where she is, actually.
So this is nice. So you have a community of people where you can go, and that you know that they're always there for you. So during the weeks when the center is closed, like you guys are closed for a couple weeks and whatever, what do you usually do then?
Probably like home, or I probably find some of my friends and I play around with them.
So do you like to read?
Half of the time, yeah. I have like 5 books at home that I read when I have nothing else to do.
Do you ever go to the library?
I can't, because my mom, like...
So do you guys ever, do you have books there at the center?
We have like our own library.
Oh, that's cool. And so do you ever ask for donations of books? I mean...
Yeah, we normally get a lot of books donated. Like we have a bunch of shelves just full of books.
That's really cool. And so what kind of, do you play video games?
Yeah.
A lot.
I can imagine. So what are your favorite video games?
I have Wii U, and then I'm gonna get an Xbox soon. But, like, just games I can just play, anything, technically.
You know, I think gaming, actually, there's a lot of benefit to it. There's a lot of people who are very anti-game, especially old people are kind of anti-game. But I think there's a lot of benefit to it. What do you think are some of the skills that you get out of playing video games?
Well, for me, I learned a lot of, like, my technology stuff from there, from playing games. And for some people, you can learn, like, outdoor skills, because there's some games that, like, it's like virtual reality, and you can like pretend that you're doing something when you're actually not. And one day you could do that physically in real life.
So do you kind of control how much time they spend on the video games? Is that part of the center? Do they have to do homework first, or how do you regulate how much time they spend on video games?
You know, they really don't play that much on the computer video games. They normally just go outside and play soccer, to be honest.
Aha. Now that sounds like something worthwhile.
But like, if someone doesn't have homework, yeah, we have like, you know, a good couple kids like Rudy and some others that just play video games until the rest are done so they can go outside and play soccer.
So you think you'll be a soccer player once you get to like high school?
No.
No? Just for fun, pick up games of soccer, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's still fun to have that in your community. Do you guys have a field where, I mean, what is your outdoor space?
It's not that big, but it works for them, you know. At one of our other sites, we do have a full length, not full length, but a soccer field, turf on it, so it works.
Well, I think outdoor play, and again, you know, we talk about how kids need to get out, they need to eat well, you need to eat a healthy diet, and you need to get plenty of activity and outside play, and you do need to be safe in your neighborhood, and you have a sufficient supervision, and all of that helps to make people feel happier, I think, and safer too. Cindy came back to community lodgings once she grew up and decided what she wanted to do. What ambitions besides being in technology do you think you'll give back to community lodgings at some point?
Probably.
Yeah? I think you might have an awful lot to offer somebody who's your age when you're Cindy's age. That's kind of the feeling I have, that you'll have something to offer. Yeah? Any thoughts on where you might go to college? No? You need to start thinking about that scholarship fund. That's what I'm saying. Maybe pursue that soccer. You never know. Scholarships are good.
I don't want to do soccer.
And you don't have to. So Cindy, if you had advice for anybody as far as the kinds of volunteers or the kind of support, what can people do to help support the center and the kids there? For all of our viewers who are watching, like, what can we do to help?
For volunteer-wise, you know, just being there, like, if you have the time, just come out and try to, you know, interact with them, because it's always helpful.
And you've got kids of all ages, right?
Yeah, we have kids from the age of 6 to 18.
Right, so some of the little ones probably need a little bit more
one-on-one, yeah.
Right,
definitely.
than some of the kids who can go outside and play soccer with each other. Yeah. So volunteers can contact community lodgings to say they've got time to come out and work with the kids. And is there anything as far as equipment or anything like that, any wants that you have for the center?
Not that I can think of at the top of my head.
How about you, Rudy? If you had anything you could, everything is met at the center, all of your needs are met.
Yeah.
I think that's great. It's amazing to find somebody who says, thanks, I have everything that we need to make a go of it. Well, we are going to thank you both for being here. I hope you both have a great summer. I really appreciate meeting both of you and hearing more about this program. I think a lot of us who don't actually interact with people in the Alexandria community had no idea that this wonderful organization was taking such great care of 150 kids in the Alexandria community. So thanks very much, both of you, for being here. I appreciate it.
I need a job.
Necesito trabajo. I would like to speak English better. Me gustaría hablar inglés mejor.
I want to be a U.S. citizen.
Quisiera ser ciudadano de los Estados Unidos.
For over 35 years,
Por más de 35 años,
the Hispanic Committee of Virginia has been serving our community.
el Comité Hispano de Virginia ha estado sirviendo a nuestra comunidad.
Job training and placement,
Capacitación, ayuda para conseguir trabajo,
education for children and adults,
educación para niños y adultos,
immigration, naturalization, and medical referrals.
ayuda para los procesos de inmigración y naturalización y orientación sobre médicos
Are a small part of what we do.
son solo una pequeña parte de lo que hacemos.
For help, information, or to volunteer,
Para ayuda, información o para ofrecerse como voluntario,
contact the Hispanic Committee of Virginia,
comuníquese con el Comité Hispano de Virginia,
helping everyone participate more fully in American society.
ayudando a todos a participar plenamente en la sociedad norteamericana.
Hey, Lena, where's yours?
Would you notice if you were missing half your kidney function? According to the National Kidney Foundation, 20 million people have chronic kidney disease, and 20 million more may be at risk and not even know it. Anyone with high blood pressure, diabetes, or a family history of chronic kidney disease is at risk. Early diagnosis is vitally important. To get the whole story, talk to your doctor and visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org or call for a free brochure. Because when it comes to chronic kidney disease, you might not know the half.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop. This is our final segment with Community Lodgings of Alexandria, and with me is the Executive Director, Lynn Thomas. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing out Cindy and Rudy's, because they are wonderful spokespeople for your organization.
Yes, we definitely love having them.
So I'm stunned when Cindy said you've got 10 staff people. Wow, you do a huge amount with 10 people.
Well, that's 10 entirely. We have 3.5 in our Family Learning Center. So we only have 3.5 staff members who actually operate our Family Learning Center with the 150 kids.
See, that is astonishing to me. And I say that knowing that we only have 11 at Our Daily Bread, but still, people, I think, need to understand the amount of community support that is being done by small nonprofits with very few people. And they're delivering a level of service that is amazing. 150, and they're probably like Rudy's, which is amazing. You're taking such great care of these kids with so little. How can the community better support what you're doing? What if you had a magic wand and you could say, this is what I want or need, what would it be?
Well, of course, we are always looking for volunteers, resources, monetary, cash.
Yeah,
money helps. And
unrestricted funds.
Unrestricted funds are always helpful to the organization to support general operating. But volunteers, we also, school supplies, our families in our transitional housing program sometimes come with just the clothes on their back. So sometimes we're looking for household supplies, and just to help the families get started.
And those are things that most people, if they knew what it is that you needed, would probably be happy to help you. Let's talk a little bit about advocacy and where that fits in. We talked a little bit before the show started about the fact that we're helping families, but we're kind of putting a Band-Aid. I mean, we can teach them skills, but we can't create housing they can afford. We can't create better public transportation, workforce development to provide them with the skills that companies need. All of these things factor into how much we are able to move these families forward. Through the advocacy lens, what is it you all are trying to do?
The biggest need is affordable housing. It's not, our families don't make enough money to afford to live in the city of Alexandria. So we're losing that tax base because families are having to go further out into Virginia to find housing that they can afford. So I would say affordable housing is the biggest. Jobs that pay a family to be able
a living wage. How about a living wage?
To be able to support themselves.
So working with the city of Alexandria, because you work within the city.
Yes.
We have the General Assembly. We're always looking to the General Assembly to support some of these initiatives too. But how has working with the city of Alexandria been? I know that for Our Daily Bread, Fairfax County has been great to work with. I mean, they see the need for the fact that these nonprofits are providing a service otherwise they'd have to provide as a city or a county.
Yes. The city's been very supportive. The city of Alexandria has been very supportive. We do receive a small amount of funding from the city to support our transitional housing program, and as well as we do receive funding from ACPS, Alexandria City Public Schools, to help with our after-school program that allows us to serve those 150 kids at those 3 sites. Without those 2, we would really be limited in the amount of services and the programs that we could provide.
So with the public school system, have you capped out at 150? Is that based on the space you have and the volunteers you have?
It's based on funding, and that if we had more funding, we probably could serve more kids. So it's based on funding, and then it's based on too the ability to find volunteers to help us support the program. Like I said, we work really closely with the school system, but ultimately funding has always been an issue in operating programs.
And to a certain extent, volunteers are too. We're very fortunate. A lot of our volunteers, well, they come from everywhere, but we have a lot of volunteers who are retired. And you know, retirement anymore just is the next chapter. There's a lot of people who have a lot to give, who have retired from jobs that allow them to be able to do volunteer work. But finding them and connecting them with these programs, it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge for any nonprofit, and there's so many nonprofits.
Yes. We've been able to do a great job this past year. We actually hired a volunteer coordinator. She's part-time now, but she's been able to connect us not only with the volunteers, but we've started to work with some corporate organizations. And so we're continuing to try to branch out into the corporate world to identify organizations, businesses who want to come in to volunteer. We've done some service projects with a couple organizations, and we're continuing to just start to bridge out into the corporate world.
I think that is the great untapped resource. I went to a corporate citizenship event sponsored by the Northern Virginia Chamber of Commerce. Our Daily Bread was one of the finalists for corporate citizen in the nonprofit sector. But the way they did it, they broke up the people who were with the nonprofits and seated them next to people from corporations. I sat next to somebody from Northrop Grumman. And they strategically placed all of these nonprofits at tables in this ballroom, and so that these corporate people who were the right person in the organization could find out what we do, what we need, how their employees can be involved. And I'm thinking that was the most brilliant idea.
It allows you to network.
It does, because I think all nonprofits are like, how do you get inside a corporation that has hundreds or even thousands of employees, but you don't know the right person and you don't have an advocate necessarily on the inside, which we have found is so critical, is somebody in the inside going, well, I know this nonprofit and this is where I would like for us to focus. And so I would love to see more chambers actually bring together nonprofits and corporate partners, because I think these corporations, from the conversation I had, employees are interested in giving back. They do want to do something that uses their skill set, you know, where financial literacy is a big one, especially for these government contractors.
We've worked with we've worked with BB&T. We get some of our financial literacy volunteers from BB&T. We've gotten corporate volunteers through Bowen. We've worked with the MITRE company. But as you said, it is an opportunity. It's an untapped resource that people are just looking to go but don't know how to find.
Don't know how to find, yeah, that's what that I have found. And like I said, I did not know about community lodgings till I met you in Fredericksburg.
Right.
I'm like, and who are you again? And you know, and I sort of feel like I know a lot of the nonprofits. I'm in this space, and they're probably, besides community lodgings, there's probably a lot of others I have not heard of either.
When I came to, I've been in community lodgings 2.5 years ago, and when I came 2.5 years ago, I encountered many people who said, oh, where do you work? And I would say community lodgings, and they would say, we've never heard of them. And so we've launched what's called Open Doors. It's a series where we invite people to come out twice a month to just take a tour of our mission. It's a 1-hour tour, and we just invite you to come out to hear about our programs, to hear from people like Cindy and Rudy's, just to see the impact that we're making in the communities. The tours are the first Wednesday at 6:30 in the afternoon, and then the third Thursday at noon.
First Wednesday, third Thursday, 6:30 and noon.
Yes.
So, you know, how much contact do you have with your local representatives, like your senator, your delegate, your congressman?
Well, we had the pleasure of having Don Beyer come out.
He's a great guy.
Yes, he came out and he did a tour of our transitional housing facility, and we actually gave him his own mini version of the Open Doors, and he's very supportive and understand the needs of the community.
He definitely does. I happen to know some of the elected delegates in your district too, and I think it would benefit them tremendously to see what you're doing and to figure out ways that they can better support you too. A lot of times, again, there's so many nonprofits in any one elected member's district, until you reach out and go, you need to come talk to us. They may not know you're there.
Exactly.
I'll give you a list after the show.
Thank you. We definitely appreciate it.
I know who they are. So going forward, do you guys do you go down to Richmond during the session? Are you working with some of the because there's a Virginia Housing Alliance. I go and I knock on doors for affordable housing down in Richmond.
We haven't had that opportunity yet, but it's definitely something that we would be interested in.
I'll tell you, you can come on the bus with me because I think, again, that's one of the ways you develop relationships with your delegates and senators is actually going and sitting down and saying that you're in their district and this is what you do. It's a matter of education. To me, advocacy is educating electeds who have a tremendous amount of things they have to keep up with and what it is you do, who you serve, and what you need.
Yes.
And so I would love to have you on the bus when we go down for Lobby Day, but the Housing Alliance, absolutely, let's do that.
Okay.
And so we met because we both got grants from Walmart, which was, I was like, wow, down in Fredericksburg. A lot of people don't necessarily, when it comes to Walmart, think, wow, grants to housing or to Our Daily Bread. But they did, and so grant opportunities are something we're all looking for.
Yes.
Too, and I think as we go through the world, people need to understand that if they can help out organizations by saying there's a foundation or there's something else, that would also be, because I know you have a grant writer.
Yes, we do. We have a fabulous grant writer, Jasmine Witcher, who actually got us reconnected with Walmart. And so we're always looking for opportunities. If there's an opportunity that someone knows or they see that it may fit within community lodgings, we're definitely open and welcome to explore those opportunities.
Yeah, I think grant writers are so important, and good ones are as scarce as hen's teeth. I know so many organizations who don't have a really good one. We do at Our Daily Bread. And people who do that, I would say too, with corporate relationships, that's something that corporations could also offer nonprofits that they probably haven't thought of, and that there are proposal writers who do RFPs every day of the week, and it would be nice to have some of those people saying, I will volunteer to write your grant.
And we would love to have them. We would not turn them down.
I know. One of these days I hope we end up with a better or more robust nonprofit roundtable or something where more nonprofits could get together to work collaboratively, because just like we work with you through the financial literacy, there's probably a lot more that we could do together as individual nonprofits working in Northern Virginia.
Yes, we're just starting to reach out and partner with other nonprofits because you can't do it alone. It is entirely a partnership, so you have to reach out.
Absolutely, and there are some people like Capital Area Food Bank who are doing such a great job.
We work with them.
Right, and so you don't need to provide redundant services if you've got people who can collaborate with you.
Yes.
So I'm hearing the music. So thank you so much, Lynn, for being here. I really appreciate you coming. I appreciate you bringing Cindy and Rudy's. They were delightful, and I hope that everybody has benefited from hearing what we had to say.
Thank you very much for having us.
You're welcome.